I'm kneeling in the soft, loamy earth of my Albany backyard, the late morning sun warming my shoulders as I work my pruning shears through the thorny stems of my pink hybrid tea roses, their petals vibrant against the green of my garden. It's a Sunday in early spring, the kind of day where the air carries the fresh scent of cut grass and the promise of warmer months, and the neighborhood around my two-story colonial hums with a gentle peace, birds trilling in the ancient oak tree that shades my patio, a distant lawnmower buzzing like a lazy bee. My portable radio, a battered old thing Tom bought me for our 10th anniversary, sits on the weathered wooden table, tuned to WMC, playing Ella Fitzgerald's Summertime at a volume so low it's barely a whisper, the notes blending with the rustle of leaves. This garden's been my sanctuary for 30 years, planted with my late husband Tom when we moved here in 1995, each rosebush a memory of our life together, summers grilling burgers on the patio, winters shoveling snow with the kids, raising Ben and Lisa in a home filled with laughter and love. Tom's been gone 5 years, stolen by a heart attack at 62, but tending these roses keeps him close, like he's still here, his gravelly voice teasing, "Give 'em a good prune, Ellie, or they'll take over the yard." I hum along to Ella, my gloved hands careful as I snip a wilted bloom, when the crunch of tires on the street pulls me out of my reverie, and I look up to see a police car easing to a stop in front of my house, the Albany PD emblem stark against its white paint. My heart gives a little jolt, not fear, exactly, but a prickle of unease. What could the police want on a quiet Sunday? I stand, brushing clumps of dirt from my faded jeans, my gardening gloves streaked with soil, and squint as 2 officers step out of the car. One's tall, broad-shouldered, with a thick mustache that makes him look like he stepped out of a 1980s cop show. The other's younger, maybe mid-20s, with a nervous energy, clutching a clipboard like it's his shield. They walk toward my backyard gate, their boots crunching on the gravel path that winds around my house, and I set my shears down on the table, wiping my hands on my Kiss the Cook apron, Tom's gift from our 20th anniversary, now faded but still precious. "Morning, officers," I call, forcing a smile despite the knot forming in my stomach. "Something wrong?" The tall one, whose badge reads Officer Daniels, nods politely, his eyes scanning the yard. "Good morning, We received a noise complaint from your neighbor." He gestures toward the house next door, Jim Harlan's place, with its garish pink flamingo lawn ornaments and a chain-link fence that's been creeping into my garden for months, its posts sinking deeper into my soil with every rain. My smile freezes, my mind stumbling over his words. "Noise. From me." I glance at the radio, Ella's voice now silent as the song ends, the volume so low it couldn't possibly bother anyone. "It's just my radio, officers, playing jazz. It's barely audible past the roses." The younger officer, badge reading Officer Carter, flips through his clipboard, his brow furrowed like he's deciphering a code. The complainant reported loud music disturbing the peace. Could you turn it off or keep it down?" I blink, stunned, and walk to the radio, flipping the switch with a flick of my wrist, the sudden silence heavy, like the air's been sucked out of the yard. "It was jazz," I say, my voice sharper than I intend, not some blaring rock concert. I keep it low so it doesn't bother anyone. Officer Daniels looks at the radio, then over at Jim's house, his expression neutral but his eyes softening slightly, like he senses I'm not the troublemaker here. "We understand," he says, his voice calm but firm. "We're just responding to the call. Keep the music off for now, and we'll be on our way." I nod, my hands clenching the edge of my apron, the fabric worn from years of wiping flour and sauce. "Sure, officers," I say, forcing my tone to stay polite, but inside, I'm fuming, a slow burn spreading through my chest. Jim Harlan, that loudmouth retiree who moved in 6 months ago, called the cops on me for Ella Fitzgerald. His German Shepherd barks half the night, his weekend parties blast heavy metal until 2 a.m., shaking my windows, and his fence has been inching over the property line, stealing bits of my garden with every post he's hammered in. I tried being neighborly when he arrived, brought him a plate of my oatmeal raisin cookies, warm from the oven, hoping to start off on the right foot. But Jim's been nothing but trouble, grumbling about my noisy wind chimes, complaining that my bird feeders attract pests, even yelling at Lisa when she parked her car too close to his driveway during her last visit. And now this. Calling the police over a radio I can barely hear myself. The officers tip their hats and head back to their car, the engine rumbling as they pull away. I stand frozen in my backyard, the pruning shears glinting in the sun, my roses swaying gently in the breeze. My eyes drift to Jim's house, where he's lounging on his porch, a beer in hand despite the early hour, his graying hair slicked back, a smirk playing on his lips like he's just won some petty victory. Jim. I call, my voice cutting through the quiet, sharp enough to make a sparrow flutter from the oak. You seriously called the cops on my radio? He leans forward, his laugh low and mocking, raising his beer bottle like a toast. That racket you call music? Yeah, I did. Keep it down, old lady, or I'll call again. Old lady. The words hit like a slap, my face flushing hot as I grip the patio table, my nails digging into the weathered wood. I'm 58, not exactly ancient, and I've kept this house pristine since Tom died, painting the shutters, weeding the garden, hosting Ben and Lisa for Sunday dinners. Jim's acting like he owns this street, like my quiet life is an inconvenience to his loud, chaotic existence. Jim, I say, stepping closer to the fence, my voice steady despite the anger bubbling inside, your dog's barking keeps me up all night, and that fence of yours? It's on my land. Maybe you should check your own noise before you point fingers. His smirk widens, his eyes glinting with challenge as he leans back in his chair. Prove it, lady. My property, my rules. He turns away, dismissing me, and I stand there, my heart pounding, my hands itching to march over and yank that fence down with my bare hands. But I don't. I turn back to my roses, picking up my shears, the blades catching the sunlight as I snip another dead head, the motion grounding me. Jim doesn't know who he's messing with. I'm not just Eleanor Matthews, widow, gardener, mother of two. I'm the mother of Ben Matthews, Albany's police chief, a fact I keep quiet to avoid gossip or accusations of favoritism. Ben's 35, climbed the ranks through grit and late nights, not because of me, but our bond's unbreakable, Sunday dinners where he scarfs my lasagna, late-night calls when he's stressed, him checking on me since Tom's passing. I'm not pulling that card yet. I don't want to lean on Ben's authority, don't want the neighborhood whispering that I'm that mom who uses her son's badge. But Jim's crossed a line, and I'm not letting this slide. I head inside, the screen door creaking as I step into the kitchen, the faint smell of last week's marinara lingering in the air, a reminder of the comfort I find in cooking. I toss the dead heads into the compost bin under the sink, my hands still trembling from the encounter. The kitchen's my domain, white cabinets Tom and I painted, a butcher block counter cluttered with mason jars of homemade jam, a photo of Ben and Lisa on the fridge, grinning at a county fair years ago. I call Ben, keeping my tone light, not wanting to worry him. Hey, hun, I say when he picks up, his voice gruff from a long shift at the station. Your neighbor Jim's at it again, called the cops on my radio. Can you believe it? Ben chuckles, but there's a tired edge to it. Mom, I saw the report. It's petty, but I'll look into it. Don't let him get to you, okay? I nod, even though he can't see, and hang up, my mind racing. I head to my office, A cozy room off the living room with bookshelves stuffed with gardening journals and a desk piled with papers. I pull out the property deed, the paper yellowed but clear, showing the boundary line. Jim's fence is a foot over, stealing my garden space, confirmed by the surveyor's markers Tom and I set years ago. I spend the afternoon stewing, the incident replaying like a bad song. Jim's complaints are ridiculous. Last month, he called the city about my lawnmower, claiming it disturbed his peace at 10 a.m. on a Saturday. The officer was kind, a rookie who apologized for the bother, but it's humiliating, like I'm the problem on this street. I think of Tom, how he'd handle this, probably march over with a beer, charm Jim into backing off with that easy grin of his. But Tom's gone, and it's just me, holding this house together, keeping the roses alive, raising Ben and Lisa through years of love and loss. Ben's my pride, the boy who went from building forts in this backyard to running Albany's police force. I don't want to use his position, but Jim's pushing me, and I'm not the pushover he thinks I am. The sun dips low, painting the sky a fiery orange, and I step back outside, turning my radio on again, just a whisper of jazz, Ella's voice soothing my frayed nerves. If Jim calls again, he's in for a surprise. He doesn't know I'm the chief's mother, and that's a secret I'm holding close for now. I'm Eleanor Matthews, and nobody messes with my peace without consequences. I'm back in my Albany backyard the morning after Jim Harlan's petty noise complaint, the sun barely cresting over the oak tree as I kneel in my rose garden, my hands buried in the cool, loamy soil. The sting of yesterday's police visit, 2 officers showing up because Jim called about my low-volume jazz radio, still burns like a fresh cut, his mocking old lady taunt echoing in my head. I clip a wilted bloom from a hybrid tea rose, its petals dropping like tears, and try to focus on the familiar rhythm of gardening, the scent of earth and flowers grounding me. This backyard, planted with my late husband Tom 30 years ago, is my sanctuary, a living memory of our life together, summers grilling with Ben and Lisa, winters sipping cocoa by the patio heater. But Jim's house next door, with its garish flamingos and that chain-link fence creeping a foot into my property, looms like a storm cloud, threatening the peace I've fought to keep since Tom's heart attack 5 years ago. I'm Eleanor Matthews, 58, widow, gardener, and though I keep it quiet, mother of Ben, Albany's police chief. Jim's picking a fight he doesn't know he'll lose, but for now, I'm keeping my secret close, letting my anger simmer as I plan my next move. The radio's off today, the silence heavy as I work, my pruning shears snipping with more force than necessary. I can't shake Jim's smirk from yesterday, lounging on his porch with a beer, acting like he owns this street. His German shepherd, Brutus, barks relentlessly from his yard, a grating sound that kept me up half the night, yet he had the nerve to call the cops on my Ella Fitzgerald. I pause, wiping sweat from my brow, and glance at his fence, its posts sinking deeper into my soil, stealing inches of the garden Tom and I mapped out with a surveyor's precision. I tried being neighborly when Jim moved in 6 months ago, brought him warm oatmeal cookies, offered to share my rose clippings, but he's been nothing but trouble, complaining about my wind chimes, my bird feeders, even Lisa's car when she visited. His own parties, blasting heavy metal until 2 a.m., shake my windows, and Brutus digs up my tulips, but I'm the problem. My blood boils as I stab my trowel into the dirt, imagining confronting him, but I know better, yelling won't fix this. Jim's pushing, and I need to push back smarter. By noon, I'm inside, washing dirt from my hands in the kitchen, the familiar white cabinets and butcher block counter calming me despite the knot in my chest. The phone rings, and I grab it, hoping it's Ben, but it's my neighbor across the street, Mrs. Carter, a sweet 70-year-old who's lived here longer than I have. Eleanor, you okay? She asks, her voice laced with concern. I saw the police yesterday. Jim again. I sigh, leaning against the counter, and tell her about the noise complaint. He called about my radio, Helen. Jazz, barely audible. Meanwhile, his dog's a menace, and his fence is on my land. She clucks her tongue. That man's trouble. He yelled at my grandson for skateboarding last week. You should talk to Ben. I hesitate, the weight of my secret Ben's position as police chief pressing down. I don't want to pull Ben into it yet, I say. He's got enough on his plate. But Helen's words linger, and I know she's right. Jim's not stopping, and I can't keep playing nice. Sure enough, the next day, it escalates. I'm hanging laundry on the clothesline, the breeze carrying the scent of lavender detergent, when another police car pulls up. My heart sinks as two officers, not the same ones from yesterday, approach the gate. Mrs. Matthews, the older one, Officer Reynolds, says, his tone apologetic. We got another complaint from your neighbor about noise, wind chimes this time. I stare, incredulous, pointing to the delicate copper chimes hanging from my patio, their soft tinkle barely audible over the wind. Wind chimes? You're kidding me. The younger officer, Officer Lee, shifts uncomfortably. We're just following up. Can you take them down or secure them? I nod, my jaw tight, and unhook the chimes, their absence leaving the yard eerily quiet. As the officers leave, I spot Jim on his porch, watching with that same smug smirk, his beer bottle glinting in the sun. Keep it quiet, old lady, he calls, his voice dripping with mockery. I bite back a retort, my hands shaking as I carry the chimes inside, but my resolve hardens. This isn't over. The next complaint comes 2 days later, this time about my car's loud engine when I started it for a grocery run at 8 a.m. Another pair of officers shows up, and I show them my property line, pulling out the surveyor's map from my office, pointing to Jim's fence. This is on my land, I say, my voice steady but sharp. And his dog's been digging up my garden. Why aren't you citing him? The officers exchange looks, promising to pass it along, but Jim's watching from his window, grinning like he's untouchable. I'm done being polite. That night, I call Ben, my son, the chief, keeping my tone casual despite the fury bubbling inside. Ben, hun, I say, pacing my kitchen. Jim's at it again, called the cops on my wind chimes and my car. His fence is over the line, and his dog's a nightmare. Can you check into him? Ben's voice is tired but firm. Mom, I'll look at the reports. Don't confront him, okay? Let me handle it. I agree, but my mind's racing. I'm not sitting back anymore. I head to my office, a cozy room with bookshelves stuffed with gardening journals and a desk cluttered with photos of Ben and Lisa. I pull out my laptop, digging into Jim's background. A quick search on the county website shows he's behind on property taxes, his house mortgaged to the hilt. A neighbors group chat mentions Jim's been cited for noise himself, those late-night parties, and animal control has warnings about Brutus running loose. I smile, a plan forming. Jim thinks he can harass me, but he's got his own skeletons. I call Clara, my best friend, who works at City Hall. Clara, I say, can you pull records on Jim Harlan? Anything, taxes, citations, permits. She laughs, sensing my fire. Ellie, you're going to war, aren't you? I'll get you everything. By evening, she emails a file. Jim's fence lacks a permit, his taxes are delinquent, and he's got 3 noise complaints from other neighbors. I lean back, my anger sharpening into strategy. Jim's escalating, but so am I, and he doesn't know I'm the chief's mom. That's my ace, and I'm holding it tight, for now. I'm standing in my Albany kitchen, the morning light filtering through the lace curtains, casting delicate patterns on the butcher block counter where I'm chopping onions for a pot of chili, the sharp scent stinging my eyes. It's been 3 days since Jim Harlan's latest petty complaint, calling the police about my car's loud engine at 8 a.m., and my patience is fraying like the hem of my old Kiss the Cook apron, a gift from Tom that's seen me through years of grief and grit. Jim's been a thorn since he moved in next door 6 months ago, his chain-link fence creeping a foot into my rose garden, his German Shepherd Brutus barking through the night, his heavy metal parties shaking my windows until dawn. Yet he's got the nerve to sick the cops on me for my radio's soft jazz, my wind chime's gentle tinkle, and now my car? The memory of his smirk, his mocking old lady taunt, fuels a fire in my chest as I dice the onions with more force than necessary. I'm Eleanor Matthews, 58, widow, gardener, and though I keep it quiet to avoid whispers of favoritism, mother of Ben Matthews, Albany's police chief. Jim thinks he's winning this war, but he's about to learn I've got an ace up my sleeve, one I've held back but am ready to play. The knife pauses mid-chop as I replay the last week. First, the police showed up for my radio, playing Ella Fitzgerald so low I could barely hear it over my roses. Then, Jim called about my wind chimes, their soft chimes somehow disturbing his peace. The car complaint was the final straw. My 10-year-old Honda started for a grocery run, apparently too loud for his delicate ears. Each visit from the officers, Daniels and Carter, then Reynolds and Lee, left me humiliated, standing in my backyard like some troublemaker, when Jim's the one blasting music and letting Brutus dig up my tulips. I showed the last officers my property deed, pointing out Jim's fence encroaching on my land, but they just nodded, promising to pass it along. Pass it along? I'm done with that. I called Ben after the car incident, keeping it light, not wanting to lean on his authority yet. "Mom," he said, his voice gruff from a long shift, "I'll look into it." Don't confront him. But Jim's not stopping, and neither am I. I wipe my hands on my apron, the chili simmering, and head to my office, a small room off the living room where I keep my gardening journals, family photos, and now, a growing file on Jim Harlan. The office smells of old books and lavender, the bookshelves stuffed with Tom's horticulture manuals and my journals tracking every rose in our garden. I sit at the desk, a sturdy oak piece Tom and I found at a flea market, and open my laptop, the screen casting a blue glow over a photo of Ben and Lisa from their high school days, grinning at a county fair. Clara's email from yesterday is waiting, a goldmine of dirt on Jim, delinquent property taxes, a mortgage stretched thin, 3 noise complaints from other neighbors about his parties, and 2 animal control warnings for Brutus running loose. I smile, the information like a weapon in my hands. Clara, my best friend since we were kids sneaking cookies from her mom's bakery, works at City Hall and knows how to dig. Jim's in over his head, her email reads. No permit for that fence either. You've got him, Ellie. I lean back, the chair creaking, and think of Tom, how he'd laugh and say, "Give him hell, Ellie, but do it smart." Smart's my plan. I'm not just a gardener fuming over a fence, I'm the chief's mother, a fact I've kept under wraps to let Ben build his career on merit, not connections. But Jim's pushing me to use it. I call Ben, my fingers drumming on the desk as the phone rings. "Mom," he answers, his voice warm but tired, the sound of papers rustling in the background. "What's up?" "Jim again." I take a breath, keeping my tone steady. "Yeah, hun, he's called the cops 3 times now, radio, wind chimes, my car. His fence is on my land, his dog's a menace, and he's got the gall to call me old lady. I need you to look into him, Ben." Quietly. There's a pause, and I can picture him at the station, his broad shoulders hunched over his desk, his dark hair flecked with grey from the stress of running Albany's police force. Mom, I've seen the reports, he says. He's out of line. I'll check his record, but don't go knocking on his door, okay? Let me handle it. I nod, even though he can't see, and hang up, my heart racing. Ben's my boy, 35 now, the kid who built forts in this backyard and now commands a precinct. I don't want to pull the chief's mom card publicly, neighbors talk, and I've heard the whispers about pulling strings, but Jim's leaving me no choice. I head outside to check the fence again, the morning air crisp as I pull out Tom's old tape measure, its metal edge worn from years of use. The surveyor's markers, small iron stakes we drove into the ground in '98, are still there, half buried under Jim's fence posts. It's a clear violation, a foot over the line, stealing my garden space. I mark it with chalk, my hand steady despite the anger simmering inside. As I measure, Brutus starts barking, his deep growls echoing from Jim's yard, and I hear Jim's voice, loud and grating. "Turn that damn music off," he yells over the fence, even though my radio's been silent since the first complaint. I stand, brushing dirt from my knees, and call back, "There's no music, Jim. Maybe check your dog's noise." He appears at the fence, his face red, his beer gut straining his t-shirt. "You're a nuisance, old lady. Keep it quiet, or the cops'll be back." I clench my fists, my voice icy. "Your fence is on my land, Jim. Fix it, or we've got a problem." He laughs, dismissive, and stalks back to his porch. That afternoon, Clara comes over, her silver hoop earrings glinting as she sits at my kitchen table, sipping coffee. "Ellie," she says, her eyes sharp, "Jim's in deep. I found more unpermitted renovations on his garage, a lien on his house for unpaid taxes. He's no saint." I nod, pouring her another cup, the chili's aroma filling the room. "He's harassing me, Clara, but I'm not helpless." Ben's looking into him. She grins, leaning forward. "The chief's mom, huh? That's your trump card. Jim's got no idea who he's messing with." I laugh, but it's tight, the weight of my secret heavy. I've kept Ben's role quiet, letting him earn his stripes without Mama Matthews hovering. But Jim's complaints are piling up, and I'm ready to fight back. I draft a letter to the city, documenting the fence issue, and call Ben again, asking him to check Jim's citations. "I'm on it, Mom," he says, a hint of steel in his voice. The plan's in motion, Jim's about to face the chief's mother, and he won't see it coming. I'm standing on my Albany front porch, the late afternoon sun casting long shadows across my rose garden, the air thick with the scent of blooming hybrids and the faint tang of my neighbor Jim Harlan's barbecue smoke drifting over the fence. My hands grip the porch railing, still trembling from the latest insult in a week of escalating complaints. Jim called the police again yesterday, this time claiming my bird feeders were attracting vermin and disturbing his peace. It's been a relentless barrage, first my jazz radio, then my wind chimes, my car engine, and now this, each police visit a fresh humiliation, as if I'm the troublemaker on this quiet street. Jim's chain-link fence, a foot over my property line, taunts me from the edge of my garden, his German shepherd Brutus barking incessantly, his heavy metal parties shaking my windows until dawn. Yet he's got the gall to target me, a 58-year-old widow who's kept this house pristine since Tom died 5 years ago. I'm Eleanor Matthews, gardener, mother of Ben and Lisa, and though I've kept it quiet to avoid gossip, the mother of Ben Matthews, Albany's police chief. I've held back from using that connection, letting Ben check Jim's record discreetly, but today, the game changes. Ben's coming over, and Jim's about to learn who he's been messing with. The past week has been a pressure cooker. After Jim's third complaint, I dug into his background with Clara, my best friend at City Hall, uncovering his delinquent taxes, unpermitted fence, and noise citations from his own parties. I sent a letter to the city documenting the fence encroachment, and Ben, my son the chief, promised to look into Jim's violations. "Mom," he said last night, his voice firm over the phone, "I've got his file. He's not clean. I'll handle it, but stay calm." Calm? I've been calm through every smirking old lady jab, every police visit to my backyard, every sleepless night with Brutus's barking. But yesterday's bird feeder complaint, followed by Jim yelling over the fence, "Get rid of those damn things, or I'll call again," pushed me past patience. I'm done playing nice. As I water my roses, the hose spraying a fine mist, I hear a car pull up. It's Ben's unmarked cruiser, his broad frame stepping out, his chief's badge glinting on his uniform. My heart lifts. He's here, and Jim's in for a reckoning. Ben strides up the path, his dark hair flecked with gray, his eyes serious but warm as he hugs me. "Mom," he says, glancing at Jim's house, "you okay?" "Clara sent me the fence letter. Guy's got no leg to stand on." I nod, leading him to the backyard, where the chalk marks I drew show Jim's fence over the line. "Ben, he's been harassing me for weeks. Radio, chimes, my car, now my bird feeders. His dog digs up my tulips, his parties keep me up, but I'm the problem." Ben's jaw tightens, his hand resting on his radio as he scans the fence. "I checked his record," he says. 3 noise complaints from neighbors, 2 animal control warnings, no permit for that fence. He's been cited for unpaid taxes too. He's done, Mom. I smile, a mix of relief and anticipation. "I didn't want to pull you in, hun, but he's left me no choice." Ben squeezes my shoulder. "Nobody messes with my mom. Let's do this." We walk to the fence, where Jim's on his porch, grilling burgers, the smoke curling over my yard. Brutus barks, chained but lunging, as Jim spots us, his smirk faltering when he sees Ben's uniform. "What's this?" he calls, setting down his spatula, his voice cocky but wavering. Ben steps forward, his badge catching the sun, his tone calm but steely. "Mr. Harlan, I'm Chief Matthews, Albany PD. You've been calling my mother, Eleanor Matthews, for noise complaints." That stops now. Jim's face pales, his beer bottle slipping slightly in his hand. "Your mother," he stammers, his eyes darting to me, then back to Ben. I step up, my voice steady. "That's right, Jim. You've been harassing the chief's mom. Your fence is on my land, your dog's a nuisance, and your parties. Louder than anything I've done." Ben pulls out a notepad, listing violations like a judge. "No permit for that fence, city records confirm it's over the line. 3 noise complaints against you, Mr. Harlan, from neighbors on this street. 2 animal control citations for your dog running loose. And you're behind on property taxes, which we're escalating to code enforcement." Jim's bravado crumbles, his face reddening as he stutters. "I didn't know. I mean, I was just trying to keep things quiet." Ben cuts him off, his voice sharp. "You called my mother a nuisance for her radio? Her chimes? You've got 48 hours to move that fence, or we're issuing citations. Leash your dog, and keep your music down, or you'll see me again." Jim nods, his eyes wide, begging now. Okay, I'll fix it. "I'm sorry, Mrs. Matthews." I stand tall, my hands on my hips, the roses behind me vibrant in the fading light. "You should have been neighborly, Jim," I say, my voice cool but firm. "Maybe try talking next time instead of calling the cops." He mumbles another apology, retreating to his house as Brutus whines. Ben turns to me, a grin breaking through his stern demeanor. "You good, Mom?" I hug him, his uniform crisp against my cheek. "Better than good, hun, thanks for having my back." The neighborhood's quiet now, a few curtains twitching as neighbors watch, the whisper of Chief's mom already spreading. Jim's reputation is shot, and I'm not just the old lady anymore, I'm Eleanor Matthews, a force, and I've taken back my peace. I'm in my Albany backyard, the early morning sun filtering through the branches of the old oak tree, casting dappled light across my rose garden as I kneel in the soft earth, my pruning shears snipping at a cluster of faded blooms. It's been a week since Ben, my son and Albany's police chief, confronted Jim Harlan on my porch, his badge gleaming as he laid out Jim's violations: unpermitted fence stealing a foot of my garden, delinquent property taxes, noise complaints from his own late-night parties, and his German shepherd Brutus running loose. The memory of Jim's face, pale and stammering as Ben revealed I'm his mother, still brings a satisfied smile to my lips. For weeks, Jim's petty complaints, my jazz radio, wind chimes, car engine, even my bird feeders, brought police to my door, each visit a fresh humiliation, painting me as the troublemaker on this quiet street. But now, the tables have turned. I'm Eleanor Matthews, 58, widow, gardener, and the chief's mother, a secret I kept to avoid gossip but unleashed to shut Jim down. As I tend my roses, their pink petals vibrant against the green, I'm waiting for the fallout, ready to reclaim my peace and show this neighborhood who I really am. The air's crisp, carrying the scent of fresh soil and the faint sweetness of my hybrid teas, planted with Tom 30 years ago when we bought this two-story colonial. The garden's my sanctuary, a living memory of our life, summers grilling with Ben and Lisa, winters decorating the oak with fairy lights. Tom's been gone 5 years, his heart attack stealing him at 62, but these roses keep him close, each snip of my shears a ritual of love. Jim's house next door, with its tacky flamingo ornaments and that offending fence, looks quieter today, no heavy metal blaring, no Brutus barking. I glance at the fence, its post still over the line, but Ben gave him 48 hours to move it, and the deadline's tomorrow. I'm not holding my breath, but the thought of Jim scrambling after Ben's warning warms me like the sun on my back. I stand, brushing dirt from my jeans, my Kiss the Cook apron, Tom's anniversary gift, tied loose around my waist, and head inside to check my phone, expecting an update from Clara, my best friend at City Hall, who's been tracking Jim's compliance. The kitchen smells of coffee and the chili I made last night, the white cabinets and butcher block counter a comforting constant. A text from Clara waits. "Ellie, Jim applied for a fence permit yesterday. Paid part of his taxes too. Ben scared him straight." I laugh, setting the phone down, my heart lighter. Clara's been my rock, digging up Jim's dirt, unpaid taxes, noise citations, no permit for that fence, giving me the ammunition I needed. I call her, the phone tucked against my shoulder as I stir the chili. "Clara, he's actually moving?" I say, grinning. Her voice is smug. "Told you, Ellie. Nobody messes with the chief's mom. He's got workers coming tomorrow to shift the fence." I lean against the counter, relief mixing with triumph. Good. Let's see if he keeps his dog leashed. Clara chuckles. "Bet his sweating bullets. You're the talk of the street." I hang up, the idea of the neighborhood whispering about the chief's mom both thrilling and strange. I've kept Ben's role quiet for years, letting him earn his stripes without my shadow. By afternoon, I'm back in the garden, watering my roses, when I hear the clank of metal next door. I peek over the fence, and there's Jim, directing 2 workers as they pull up his fence posts, their shovels digging into my soil to reset the boundary. He looks haggard, his grey hair disheveled, no beer in hand today. I watch, my hose spraying a fine mist, as the posts come up, revealing the surveyor's markers Tom and I set in '98. Jim glances my way, his eyes avoiding mine, and I call out, "About time, Jim." He nods, mumbling, "Yeah, yeah, fixing it." No smirk, no old lady jab, just a man brought low. I smile, turning back to my roses, the victory sweet but tempered by the weeks of stress he caused. That evening, there's a knock at my door. I open it to find Jim, holding a plate of store-bought cookies, his face red with embarrassment. "Mrs. Matthews," he says, his voice low, "I'm sorry for the trouble. I didn't know you were the chief's mom. I'll move the fence, leash Brutus, keep things quiet. Can we start over?" I take the cookies, my expression cool but polite. "You should have talked to me first, Jim, instead of calling the cops. Be a good neighbor, and we're fine. Step out of line, and Ben hears about it." He nods, almost bowing, and scurries back to his house. I close the door, the cookies a small trophy, and call Ben. "Hun," Jim apologized. "Fence is moving." Ben laughs, his voice warm. "Told you, Mom. Nobody messes with you." I smile, my heart full. He's my boy, the kid who built forts in this yard, now protecting me as chief. The next day, the neighborhood feels different. Mrs. Carter across the street waves as I garden, her smile wide. "Heard about Jim," she calls. "You showed him." Other neighbors nod as they pass, the whispers of Chief's mom spreading like wildfire. Jim's fence is reset by noon, his dog leashed, his parties silent. My radio's back on, Ella Fitzgerald playing softly, and no one complains. I'm Eleanor Matthews, not just a widow or gardener, but a force, my influence no longer hidden. Jim's petty dispute backfired, his consequences tied to my secret, and I've taken back my peace. Nobody reports the chief's mother twice.